Balloon Boo is getting an F because the internet has scarred me, and that's all I'm gonna say. Block Hopper, okay, this is cute, I love it. A. We have the Bruiser. These things always terrified me. They at a very minimum can break bricks that you normally can't. They always gave me some anxiety as a kid, so C. Crowbers are fairly generic. I can at least respect the pun, but the design is so generic that it's just gonna average out to a B. Deep Cheeps, okay, pun, funny, but it's also a unique enemy idea. Cheap Cheeps that directly go after you instead of just existing. I can at least give them a B. Kabomb, like kaboom, except kabomb. B. Snailicorn. Gross. I hate the name. I hate the design. Nintendo, you should be ashamed of yourselves, all of you. D. Snow Spike. I may not have been a huge fan of the original Spike, but if you put a little hat and gloves on anything, it just moves it up to a B. Spike Bass. What happened to the enemy designs in the new Super Mario Brothers series? Like, this is just a horrifying. It's just a D. Splunkin. All right, I love this. Little pumpkin Goomba guys. I don't know. A. Easy. Squiggler. A baby wiggler? It's so cute. S tier. Well, that's most of the enemies, actually. For a game titled New Super Mario Brothers, there's really not a lot of new. We do have a few bosses left though. Firstly is the Mummy Pokey, and I love the idea of this. It's a great way to cap off a desert world. A tier. Cheap Skipper. Not a fan of this one. I feel like we've gotten so many big, cheap designs, and by now it's just getting old. C tier. There's Monty Tank, a Monty Mole, and a tank that shoots bob-ombs. A little inspired. B. Lack of Thunder. A Lakitu that shoots thunder with a storm cloud. Now that's cool as hell. I'm giving it an A tier. Finally, to top off the game, we have the Dry Bowser. You can argue that it's a clone, and I don't disagree. But if we count Dry Bones, we do have to count Dry Bowser, or else we've got some problems on our hands. The only problem is he never really had dialogue or any important role in the game. He's always just there. So I think that means I can't put him in S tier. I'll settle for A.
Ah, that wasn't so bad.
The only new, no, they aren't new. The only new friendly character is Jumbo Ray. Platforms we can stand on, and I feel like we've seen this 5 times by now. C. Enemy-wise and boss-wise, there aren't that many new characters here. And for the bosses, they brought back the Koopalings again. So we really won't be spending too much time with this game. New to the game, we do have the Bramball. I actually really like these guys. They move by extending their legs, giving a brief window to attack the ball. A. Bulber. Yeah, great. Let's add a light mechanic to underwater sections. Just make them worse. D. Same problem with the jelly beams. Cooligan? Okay, that's kind of funny. S. Eep Cheap. B. Foo. Cloud enemies that obscure the map. Nothing too special in terms of defeating them. B tier. Huck It Crab. I know where they can huck it. C. Ice Bro. By now, the Fire and Hammer Bros are nowhere near as difficult in the modern games. And so because it was introduced in an era where they weren't as threatening, I'll give them a higher tier than the others, being B. Brickley Goomba. What are you doing in there, little guy? Not a bad idea, making a Goomba a bit more of a threat than usual.
Yeah, as in 2 out of 10 difficulty instead of 1 out of 10.
A tier. River Piranha. They spend their whole life's purpose to blowing spike balls in the air, and that's all they do. B tier. Scaredy Rat. Ugly, but literally the name alone is S tier. Stalking Piranha Plant. Oh my god, another Piranha Plant with legs. A tier. And finally we have the Stone Spike. I'm sorry for this section. The enemies in this game are just so uncreative, and I have nothing to say about almost any of them. I don't know. C. It's another spike. New Super Mario Bros. 2 only introduces us to the following. We have Bone Piranha Plant and Bone Goomba, which I like the dry bone stuff as we've established, so I'll give them A tiers. We have the Behemoth, which, you know, I shouldn't count this because of the size variation rule, but fine, B, and that's it.
Oh, sorry, the enemies are getting really freaking boring right now, so I'm just...
The last of the new Super Mario Bros. Games, and a mediocre one to go out on. There are at least the baby Yoshis. There's the balloon baby Yoshi, who turns into a balloon. A. Bubble baby Yoshis are basically just a power-up that shoots bubbles. Like, I can't see why they couldn't have just made this a separate suit. God forbid, there's already a million of them. C. And the glowing baby Yoshis are super gimmicky and only useful in a few levels. F. See, we're not around right now. New to this game enemy-wise are the Dragon Eel. Despite the uninspired name, I think an enemy that takes up half the screen, requiring you to pivot around it, is a pretty clever idea from a game design perspective. A. Flipbrus. They are walruses who throw snow. So why not just use the snow spikes? D. Boombrats. Why? F tier. Grolls. Thwomps that roll. I wonder if the whole office at Nintendo is just cackling when they make another one of these for the millionth time. B. Ice piranha plants. Yeah, these are starting to get a bit old. B tier. Mecha Chomp. Now that's just cool. I know it's been kind of done before, but it's cool. A. Nabbit. Don't remind me it's been 11 years since this guy debuted in the series. He steals items, requiring the players to chase him down, and eventually would become playable in New Super Luigi U and various spin-offs. He's a fan favorite, although a bit forced and boring. I'll give him a B. Targeting Teds. They're just a torpedo Ted. C. And last and probably least, the Waddle Wings. Only added because it matched the generic power-up this game was released with. C. New Super Mario Bros. U also lets you play as your Miis in the bonus modes, which I don't know, should this count? Well, this video is long enough as is, so screw it. A. We also need to point out this game was released in 2019 for the Nintendo Switch, because of course it was. This would introduce us to Toadette, who technically appeared first in Odyssey, but I'm not doing a separate section for this game alone, it's a lousy Wii U port. As a whole, Toadette is a classic character, dating back to many early spin-offs before making it into some of the later eras of the mainline Mario series. She was a great character in Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door, you know, one of those that appears every few chapters, but becomes memorable as a result. I'll give her an A tier. I can't say the same thing about Peachette. I'm giving her an F tier. Because of what this did to the internet, it was horrifying, and I have not recovered.